That's the only one.
You know, I can tell you that this winter.
Just enough to pack.
Seems good out. Keep doing it. All right, it's 7 o'clock. I'll go ahead and call the August 11th Caledonia Township Planning Commission meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If anybody can't hear, just raise your hand and try to talk a little louder. So, go ahead and start with a roll call. Here. 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 Okay, we have a quorum. Need an approval of the agenda. Everybody's got a copy of that.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as read.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Anthony, second by Ken. All approve of that. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comment time. Anybody that has any comments not pertaining to tonight's public hearing, do you have anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to answer a question from you. I am trying to find information on this whole book that I published on your zoning. Where do I find information on shipping containers and products containers? How are they regulated? I'm trying to find where the book do I read that?
It is in there. Maybe we can talk if you want to stay after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been hard trying to find it.
Yeah. When we drafted the ordinance, we did deal with some of that, or when we were looking at the changes.
Well, I couldn't find the information.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, or public comment period. Need an approval of the minutes from July 7th. I'll make that online and you can send them out.
I'll make a motion to accept it with one change.
Okay?
Malone was absent.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the July 7th meeting minutes with the one change.
The next year will be minutes with change.
We got a motion by Anthony. Second by Ryan. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Approval of the minutes are approved. Okay, written correspondence. Are these pertaining to the special needs home?
So the only for the special meeting, and then we do the costume too. He hadn't addressed that.
Okay. Okay, we have written correspondence from Andrew Rasmussen, August 11th, 2025. That's today. My name is Andrew Rasmussen. My wife and children own a home at 6931 Madison. Cover Lake. We'd like to request permission from the township to install a chain link fence gate at the rear of our property line. We would install a gate that keeps the same appearance as the existing fence. We are prepared to contract and pay for the installation ourselves if approved by the commission. The fence at the back of the property, as you maybe can see in this attachment, part of the letter's cut off, borders the north end park. The proposed location of the gate is maybe within the red line area,
Outlined in the attachment. When planning this, we plan that the contractor would ensure the gate is back far enough from the established driveway to not impede any vehicle traffic when open. We are frequent visitors of the park. Having the gate would add the convenience since we drive around in order to bring all the water, beach toys, and snacks. As part of the agreement, I would put a combination style lock on the gate to deter public foot traffic not authorized by myself or my wife. The intention for the combination style lock is to provide this to first responders, fire department, police, emergency services, so if anyone for any reason is needed to be used, it's 100% available. We are open to working with the township to come to an agreement to mutually benefit both parties. We appreciate your consideration in this matter.
so these are one of the property owners that backs up to the north end park. This looks like something that we could give to Nick. Such as the thing you should return. For a gate or
Or the cutting the fence around the park.
oh, it's the park's nice.
Yeah.
That's a different story. Okay, we'll talk about that. That's the only written correspondence that we've got, other than we've got one that pertains to the special use tonight. So, maybe what we could do is if we, need to discuss that more. Yeah. Okay, yeah, 'cause I didn't see this. Okay. Let's put it on our agenda and new business after ordinance updates. We'll just have a quick discussion about that. Can I get a motion to amend the agenda to add that? Fence discussion on the end of the business. Motion, thank you, second. Second. Maybe a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, let's go, it is 7:09. Oh no, we gotta go to reports first. Board of trustees?
We'll meet tomorrow night at 7. There you go.
Okay.
ZBA, no report, zoning administrator, he's not here. He's trying to get here, but he's been meetings all evening. Tri-Township, we did have a Tri-Township meeting, last month, July. And we will talk about that and do business. But we did, the Tri-Township committee, voted to approve the new ordinance with an act. So we'll talk about that. Okay, now it's 7:10. We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing for 2025-01 Alpona Septic Service Special Land Use. The address is 401 West Heber Road in Spruce. The applicant's name is Fred Hyatt.
Yep.
Okay. You want to pass these up to you guys if you don't have a copy of them? The black and white, I do have a color copy for you. If you can take a couple minutes and explain to us what you're trying to do.
What we're trying to do, as you know, the city sewer plant of Alpena has stopped receiving all septic haulers in the area. So what we're looking to do is stay in business by having the storage containers and then being able to land that apply to the ground. So we can stay in business. That's it in a nutshell.
All right. Thank you. Anybody from the public have any comments, questions, concerns? Yes, sir.
I just want to know that.
If you could give us your name and address, that way she can put it in the record.
Scott Burns, 485 West Hubert.
Scott Burns, B-E-R-N-S. B-U-R-N-S. 485 West Hubert.
I'm just curious if it's going to be like, bam, right, I'm going to look at it the rest of my life.
No, you're not.
No, I mean,
You're not.
Now's the time for them to ask questions to us.
yeah, I, you know, and what happens if it leaks? Is it going to cause an odor? Because I'm the only one that lives over there. There's a business there. I don't know if there's anybody else that would be affected by this. I'm just curious on where it's located, because I'm assuming it's right behind my property, in that lot, that big area behind my property.
It's in the middle of 40 acres.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know, I'm just saying it's, I'm assuming that's where it is. I just wondered if it's gonna be like right over in my corner, or if it's gonna be in the middle, or.
It's in the middle of the 40 that borders your property, and the tanks are enclosed. It's not like the one I built over at Lenhart Farm next to you, where that's an open tank.
Yeah.
It's 30-foot tank. These are enclosed tanks, so there would be no odor.
Yeah. I was just concerned about the eyesore, because after nobody wanted to buy the house when you had the septic things there. I bought it because I didn't care, but I'm just talking about future resale. If somebody looks at that and says, oh, and nobody ever buys it, you know?
I have it on my computer if anybody wants to look at it.
Just, like I said, I'm not upset about this. I'm just curious. Because it says 300 feet from my house, the paper that I got. So like,
Much more than that.
The radio.
okay, here's mine, it's right here, it is right here.
Yeah, pictures of the tank.
You're gonna be back in here? Well, I can't see that. That's,
You know where the radio tower is.
yeah, the radio tower is over here, right
This is
here.
your home right
Yep.
here. So there's an access
So
road.
it's their driveway that
It's
goes
down in the valley. in the-
Okay, see, that's what, see, I didn't know if it was gonna be like right here, so, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay.
So that's fine, once you get it, and then the other gentleman and they're saying it's gonna be back here in the middle, so people can keep the trees in.
Okay.
They're within 300 feet of the boundary.
Yeah, like I said, the note says 300 feet, I'm like, and I'm like, a football field is my house.
Right.
And I looked up 21,000 gallon septic tank, and those things are huge.
They're actually.
Yeah, so it's
Towers right here.
packed in there. Yeah,
In the middle of it.
Trying to do things here. It's got a bunch.
yeah.
5 acres here, here, they want to apply.
I'm not here to talk about it or anything. I just didn't want to look at it, you know?
Did anybody have a picture? I gave Nick a picture of the tank.
Last time I've been back, my wife, last time I was back there, it looked like somebody just came through and treated, or whatever that word is.
Yeah, they clear cut it.
Clear cut it. Yeah.
Why did they explode?
I gave Nick a bunch of copies.
Yeah.
Somebody have a picture of the tank?
Yeah.
You want to see something? That's the only reason I'm here, I just wanted to know exactly what you're doing.
This is River Road. And this is.
Oh, look, see, then I don't have a, you know, that's good, because when I bought my house, it was on sale for 10 years. because
They already cleared an
bodies.
area of 5 acres back.
Okay, and
When
now they're gone,
to
and I'm like, hey, I first came through the gas line to come through.
you said there's
Four
actually.
lines are gone, I'm like, if I do ever decide, I ain't saying to sell my house.
They
If
are
I decided to sell my house,
bound.
I was in a better
No.
position, and then all of a sudden I get this letter saying
Yeah.
300 feet from my house, and I'm like,
You can walk all the way back to your front.
yeah, so I don't think that's gonna be a problem, you know what I mean? And I
You have
already
a picture of the
have, you know,
Because they want to
spreading and
see.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
I already did that way back somewhere else, I never,
I
they
know.
do it right next door to you. I never smelled it ever, so I was just concerned about the height.
All right, I do have a question.
I have some copies, color copies of the tanks, if anybody wants to see them. You can pass them down there, on the end down there.
That was just some questions.
Okay.
We'll go ahead, we're gonna open up, we have the public hearing's been open. So now is the time, everybody, just like a call to the public, now is our time that you can, you can just give us your name and address.
Phyllis Vanderbuck, and I'm at 1861 Gilbert Road, Cumberland, Virginia. My question is, and I'm putting them back here,
I know
I'm
that.
on Gilbert Road.
Phyllis at Vanderbilt. Okay.
When the tanks are full, you fill your tanks up. What are you gonna do after the tanks are full?
You gotta talk to us.
Huh?
You take it to the pharmacy, oh, sorry.
You gotta talk to us.
Oh.
You ask your questions to us and then we'll answer.
When the tanks are full, all right, filled it all up, and they've done all, and their tanks are full, what do they do after the tanks are full?
That's a question that we're gonna ask.
Oh,
And
okay.
then you have another question.
Okay, my next question is, they come, a lot of people use all kinds of chemicals in their toilets to keep them clean, and it goes in our septic. So when you pump out my septic tank, you've got some of these chemicals, which is gonna go in their tank. And then eventually, the idea is to put this on the land. What's this chemical that I've used in my toilet, that went into my septic, gonna do to the land?
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Now's the time to ask questions. Yes, sir.
Jim Ferrara, 339 West River, and 359 West. 259 not where our house is, but it's exactly adjacent to the said property. I don't think there's a person in this room that doesn't have a septic. Nobody has city water, city sewer. Listen to Lieutenant Gillespie over the month. I think what went down in Alpena, that treatment facility is almost criminal. The way they shut that down, and in the same breath, they raised all their sewer and water rates. Alcona Septic is trying to stay in business. And everybody in Caledonia Township, if Alcona Septic had gone out of business, you'd be limited as to who's going to come pump your tank down. Fewer people in the district, they can just about charge what they want. And I think they are to be commended for going another route to stay in business. I think the state of Michigan wasn't very helpful in this, but they kept a lot of this quiet. They want to do this. As an adjacent property owner, as a road sitting here between two corners. I don't have a problem. Like I say, I've seen the tanks. And Lieutenant Gillespie knows a lot more about it than anybody else in this room. There's a whole process involved on how this stuff is treated before it's even on. I think a lot of your questions will be answered by Lieutenant Gillespie. I call him Lieutenant because that's his title as a United States Army General. And this is a veteran-owned business. That should be appreciated. So, I don't see an issue with this, other than I think somehow I think the cart got before the horse on this. It's always been approved by the state, and now here we're sitting at the township level. I think a lot of that has to be finger pointed back to our zoning administrator. So, and then he's not here today. So, not too good. So, as a property owner adjacent to a 401, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Full steam ahead.
Okay. Anybody else?
You know, I don't have a problem with this, don't get me wrong. It's just that there's gonna be people out there that don't come to this meeting to get the information, and so all I'm asking, if somebody comes to me, I wanna know the facts, so that I can give them the truth, not something hearsay.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, it's 7:22. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Now's our chance that we can discuss and ask questions. Brian, you want to start? You want to let me refer to you. Any questions?
No, I haven't.
Nothing?
No questions, yes, sir.
Ken? Brian?
You pretty much answered them all at the last meeting.
I'd like to ask a couple of questions just for the record. And I asked a little bit earlier, the purpose of these tanks is to store, is this like a transfer station with some application? Can you
Yeah,
explain that a little bit?
we have to screen the septic waste through 3/8 bar screen before we landify, get all the products out of it, and then we store them in a tank. It's temporary for most of the year, and then the tanks fill, and we're gonna do 90% of our land application down in Hawes Township on 40 acres down there. They won't be stored in the winter because you cannot landify once the ground's frozen. So we have 3 tanks in place. Total capacity right now is 66 or 22,000 gallons each. So that septic waste, when people have problems in the winter, there's nowhere to get rid of it, you have to store it. And then get rid of it when the ground thaws and we can get on the fields. That's mainly the purpose of the tanks, is for storage for the winter. Other than that, we are gonna use them up to the screen, tank the cold, then we're gonna pull off the other end and landify. We're gonna use, mostly on their injection, where we're gonna subsurface inject this sewage into the ground by 6 to 8 inches. That's the preferred method.
So injecting here on this property? Or?
Now, this is a property we're gonna inject some, but we're distance enough where we can surface supply. Then it has to be incorporated into the soil within 6 hours. So when we put it down, we have to work it in the disc. And as far as entity is concerned, I know what she's talking about, and you're right, but the synthetic products that we're all on, medications, chemotherapy, blood pressure medicine, it all goes into your septic tank. But there's been case studies that the natural plant life does better dealing with the synthetic chemicals that we man-made than dumping it in Lake Huron, where there's studies proving it's deforming the fish. There's no treatment to remove those chemicals out of our human waste. And that is an issue, and I understand the concern. But they have done studies, and it seems like the plant life does better dealing with getting rid of those man-made chemicals that we all are now, that we're all on medication, than processed through the city water plant and all that water is discharged in the Lake Huron.
Doesn't most of the water, just, I'm assuming the chemicals and mixture go out and go through the drainage field anyway?
Well, it does, exactly. And there is studies where it's starting to show up in well water, they're getting trace elements because, they got us on all this medicine to keep us alive that we didn't have 80 years ago. And it does. It ends up out there, there's trace studies where there's traces of it showing up in the groundwater even because, we've been dealing with human waste since Moses told everybody to leave the encampment, okay? Then it's just something where we create our own problems in the world. You don't have.
What, you got 322,000 gallon tanks.
Correct.
You got a total of 66,000. What is your capacity in a year? What do you guys run?
What are we pumping, Fred? 700, 800,000 gallons a year?
Yes, right around there. Anywhere from 600, basically 600 tanks to 900 tanks a year, which is about 900,000 gallons max at the moment.
And our septic probably deals real close to that or 1 million gallons.
Okay.
So between us, you're looking at 2 million gallons of septic waste a year going on the field.
So if the ground's frozen 4 months out of the year, that's a third.
Yep.
So you're looking at about 300,000 gallons of use coming in. And
We're done.
you've got about 66,000 in tanks.
We're done. We can't, we won't be able to take it, there's nowhere to take it. But once we reach capacity for storage, and you're backed up, we're gonna have to find somebody that still got storage capacity. Whether they're from Posen or Standish, if Alpine Septic's full, they have the same, I know, because I built that facility and I dealt with it, when it comes toward the end of winter, we were full, but we had the option of going to the sewer plant in the winter. We could take our waste there. So that option's gone now forever. We can't. We'll be done.
So what's limiting you to the 66,000? Is that?
That's just the 3 tanks that are there. I mean, I guess we'd have to come back and ask for permission to put more tanks in if we wanted to. But once we reach that capacity this winter, and once the ground froze in late December, and we can't landify, then
Do you guys see a reduction in workload in the winter time because ground's frozen?
normally you do. It's a emergency job. But these restaurants around here, they're not real good at maintaining their systems. So you get a call on a Friday night, 10 above 0. My sewage is backed up on a Friday night. Now you got to go pump them. And we say the option before was you could store it overnight even, and then take it to the sewer plant the next day. But then that option's gone. So once we reach our storage capacity, we'll be done for the winter. We can't. You'll have to file and dial if you have a problem. And people do have problems. People,
Is there a saturation point to the land you're spreading on?
yes, we have to soil test every year, and we're accountable. We file a cropping plan with the state of Michigan, and the crop that we have is governed by certain crops. How many thousand gallons per acre of waste we can put on, like rye and wheat. So we're allowed to put 25,000 gallons per acre per year. If it's soybeans, we can put 65,000 gallons per year. Most septic waste is 98% water by volume. Most of the liquids. It's just high in nitrogen. We are governed by, we have to file a crop plan every year and soil test every year.
So are you more likely to be able to spread less over time, or does it regenerate?
Well, the reason to make the plant crops is to remove those nutrients from the soil, keep phosphorus from building up and stuff like that. So the plants withdraw. That plant life, it could be fed to the animals, but obviously it can't be used for human consumption. So it enters the food chain one way or the other.
USDA regulates that.
What do you do with the goodies that don't make it through the screen?
Those are put into a dumpster and taken to the landfill.
Okay. Is that hauled out weekly? How often?
It depends on if the dumpster's full or not, everything.
I
I mean, on average, you do it once a week, once a month?
Probably once a month.
Yeah, once a month.
Is there order to that? Or?
I mean, there's everything in there from butt wipes to
Oh, everything.
feminine products to, you name it. You name it, it's in there.
Not a pretty job.
No, no, you gotta scrape it by hand and shovel it into the dumpster, okay?
Is the dumpster, I'm assuming you have one or two dumpsters there at a time then?
Just a 3-yard dumpster handles most of it.
Okay, so that's not a lot of waste then?
No, most of it's liquid by volume, like I said, there's not a whole lot of solids.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, the plant has the same thing. When we were going to the plant, they had a 4-yard dumpster that they came up in and dumped in there. And they hauled it away probably once or twice a week, because you had 5 or 6 haulers that were going there at a time. So they were hauling that dumpster once a week away and taking it to a landfill. So the city, the municipal, were doing the same thing.
What about the odor?
Well, that's what people are missing. There is barely any odor, it's a musty smell. It's not like, I had a neighbor years ago, Rich Ibby, we get along great, called me on a Sunday, hey, I'm tired of smelling that stuff. When I went and got him, totally berlandifying, okay, cow manure. It was, that stuff will travel 6 miles. That odor was a bad day. So I picked them up in the truck. I took them around and told us I did landify yesterday, but it ain't here. Let's take a ride. It was all covered from there. And then I think, dude, what they use, they call lime stabilization. I stabilize with hydraulic or hydrated lime, and it kills any odors along with the disease pathogens that are in human waste. It's quite a project, but that's what I did because we surface supply right to a hayfield. And that killed any odors, but it also killed the disease pathogens that are in human waste. But that's quite a project to do that. Yeah, I don't know anybody, I don't think, I landed for 20-some years when I owned LP and Septic. I don't think has there been any complaints of odors from...
I don't think anybody knew that it was even happening over there.
Right. I mean, you don't want to bring attention to yourself, obviously. I mean, so, I don't know anybody that plans to buy to the state that doesn't take care of it. Huh?
The common manure is what's really.
Yes.
Right.
I can honestly say I don't smell when they spread it in the field on the other side of the week.
Okay.
The big tanks is what it.
Yeah, and you're actually
Right in the middle of it.
from the other side.
I'm in the middle of both. Because the Alpina Septic does it at Donna's house, so it's on the other side. They have tanks over on Donna's house.
Yeah, they have one big
100,000 gallons.
That's what that, okay, yeah, they have a tank over there.
Are the tanks out there now today?
Yep.
Yeah, they're there. We haven't used them, but they're
How long
there.
have they been in there?
They've been there for 2 months.
Oh, I was gonna say, if they've been there years, I was gonna say, I've never seen them, so.
Scott, do you see the tanks or anything from your house?
I can't see them from my house, not right now.
Even if he was to walk to the back of this property, he wouldn't see the tank.
Well, where he's pointed on the map, I don't think I'd be able to see it. So it doesn't affect me. Like I said, the smell, Alpina has it on the other side, and I don't smell it. Maybe once a year if the wind catches the right direction or something. But
How many trips, how often and frequent are your trips down to Hogg Township to disposal?
Well,
Or how many are you anticipating?
pardon me?
How many are you anticipating? You're not discharging down there yet, or are you?
No, but the fields are worked up, the tractor down there, our injection barrel's there at the shop. We're kind of waiting on getting the tanks approved. We have surface supply at Fred's residence at 401. That's Hubert Road.
Okay.
I would say, obviously, we have to set aside and take, now we gotta load it in the truck, so we gotta take it down, and then we gotta pump it into our injection barrel, then inject down there. What was your volume last month, Fred?
160 tanks.
So we have, let's just roughly say we had 160,000 gallons of septic waste.
You're in a 10,000 gallon truck?
No, those are,
Our trucks are about 3,000 gallons.
Yeah.
50 loads.
Yep.
Roughly. Are you guys gonna be accepting waste from other haulers?
Not at this time, no. I guess we have a friend, if he was in a bind, he's got the same issue, he's down in jail. He goes to a small facility in Prescott, down by Whittemore, and that facility can be on the edge. It breaks down, or the DEQ, Eagle shuts them down. Now they got nowhere to go. It wouldn't be a commercial venture, no. We have to be accountable for his waste.
I think that's about all the questions I have. Anybody else there? Did I screw up any other questions? You guys are with me. Well, thank you. Let's discuss this. We do have correspondence from Fred, right? Fred Hyatt? Oh no, this isn't from him. This is from Gary and Patty Parker. We received a letter regarding Fred's special use permit. Since we will be out of town on the day of the public hearing, we are writing to say that we have no problem with the special use permit being issued. Gary and Patty Parker. No address for that. Yeah. Oh, I do have one other question. Do you guys recall at any point in time, have you ever applied to the township for a site plan approval?
For where he's operating
For
now?
this property?
I don't think so.
Okay.
For to operate the business itself there,
Yeah.
we actually didn't do it when we were on 4252 Cooper Road. And then when we moved the facility down by Mr. Burns' place, we didn't do it there either. Just being up front.
Okay. No, that's fine. All right. Any discussion? There's a couple bullet points that I would like to, just for everybody's information, this application is for what we call a special land use. It's not a site plan. Where if somebody wanted to come in, like the Dollar General came in, they come in for a site plan approval. This is a special land use, it's more of a zoning issue. And it's set up for things like these guys. You can go through every ordinance in the country and there's nothing that says how you regulate how septic haulers dispose of or take care of waste as humans. So the special land use is a way that allows local governments to be able to approve things like this. This book is only this thick. And it would be like the Bible, or you're trying to get close to taking care of it. So the process for this is the special land use is we have to have a public hearing. And then in Caledonia Township, this planning commission approves it. This does not go to the board, which I'm surprised. But technically it does get a recommendation to the elected officials. So that the elected officials can change it instead of the planning commission. There's a couple things that I was reviewing our action items that any motions have to have the findings of fact. And the findings of fact in this situation would be where the use is compatible and similar to the use on an adjacent property. That's a finding of fact. And another finding of fact is that this use is needed in our community because there's no other alternatives. So those are two findings of fact. And then any conditions. I question 3 tanks. I don't know if it's enough. Listen to these gentlemen. Because it's going to be, somebody's going to need it in February, and full and they can't take anything, then it leaves our residents scrambling. And that's when, obviously, the township will try to call. And I've been hearing that lately. Because I think you guys get called for everything.
You can't make them put more tanks in.
Well, to be honest with you, the plan is eventually to get more tanks.
Yeah.
So we can accommodate.
I get, going.
Right.
Well, my recommendation would be, because the special land use is set up for install 3 above ground tanks, it could be left to the discretion of this planning commission to say, at some point, we can allow them administrative approval to add more, or approval from the zoning administrator to approve more, rather than having to go through and do a public hearing and all that again. So that might be something to consider. And the only other thing I can think of is that they don't regularly accept waste from other companies. This is for their use and their use only. So, and then on occasion, maybe if somebody else can help, but yeah, we don't want to sign up that we're accepting all the waste from Northeast Michigan, because it is our community.
Well, that, we can put so much down on that. With the 40 acres back and house.
Right.
So we're not gonna want.
But if they come up with another 160 acres down in Rod, then we don't want them accepting.
So if you just leave it limited to 3 tanks, like they want.
They'd have to come back. To get more.
Move it to where it is and
Well, these are just, I'm just throwing out
Yeah.
discussion items that, that we, the only other thing I would recommend is in a motion would be that this approval is, contingent on approval from the health department. District Health number 2 and Eagle.
I think they have.
Yeah, we already got it.
You got
Site
an initial
approval.
permit or a full permit?
We got,
Because I see the initial permit here.
septic waste receiving facility for Hawes, Caledonia.
That was through Eagle.
That was through Eagle.
The health department got paid from Eagle to go inspect these sites before we,
Okay.
the land was bought. But it,
That's not the same as the business license.
Septic hauler's license right there at the bottom, if you see it, septic waste receiving facility. Approved for Hawes, Caledonia, so we have the site approval.
Okay. All right. Well, if we make a contingent on that, then that's good.
Right.
So we just want to make sure that we have to cover our bases.
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's why I'm putting it.
yeah, because I know Dave has been working with that.
Yes.
I had to have him educate me because as an engineer in environmental engineering classes 40 years ago, I always thought you couldn't spread any waste on the ground.
Right.
So, but it's got to happen. So, any other discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Anybody want to try? Right. That's also you guys take your time and back in the house. That is fast as soon as you're ready. It's still an anthem.
I want to make a motion to approve special land use permit number 2025-1. To defining the fasting, maneuvering adjacent land, property being used in the same fashion, and our community needs this facility. With the health department legal approval.
Needing legal and health department approval. Anything else? Yeah, you're the author of the motion, but did you want to have anything regarding future things or anything? Or have anything back?
I would like it to be able to put an end to all the wait. I mean, this was given 3 months.
Because the application was for free, I would say that we should approve allowing the administrative approval. So up to X number of things.
You don't want to have to wait, you know, 5 months.
Right. Well, this is going to happen in February. Even with respect to other users. All right. We have a motion. Any further discussion on the motion? Anyone want to add anything?
So was the motion contingent on the legal and the health department?
Right.
We couldn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the findings of fact are to approve the special land use permit, with the findings of fact being that this property is adjacent to land that is being used in the same fashion. And also, this is a need for our community. And then it's contingent on needing legal and health department approval and allowing for up to 5 total tanks with administrative approval. So basically, you go to the zoning administrator and say, we need 2 more tanks. Okay. So,
When we have to wait 3 months to try to add.
It's basically,
That's,
well, the Eagle's a totally separate deal. They can go to Eagle to get 2 more. Right, right. The only thing that I want to throw out there for us is I asked Nick today whether he thought that there was at any time a site plan approval for this. We're going to deal with this here probably. And he didn't think that there was. He said if there was, it would be very deep in the archives upstairs. My only recommendation maybe to amend your motion would be to have them file a site plan application, just so that it's on record. So that at some point, 20 years from now, we can say that there was one there. That's up to you, you're the law.
Gary just come up with,
It's an application, just like this, and they pretty much use the same exhibits. So it just shows that they got approved, and that way it covers all the bases of the township. That way somebody can't come back to the township and say, they never got a site plan approval. So, it sounded to me like we need it. We need the service.
Yeah.
So, you're okay with that, Matt? 90 days. Okay. I'll reread your motion for you. To, given consideration that the findings of fact that approval of the special land use, approval of the special land use permit number 2025-01, findings of fact being that the subject property is adjacent to a property that is being used in the same fashion. B, our community needs this facility, the needs a facility. And this approval would be contingent upon getting legal and health department approval. They would be able to get a copy to our zoning administrator to keep it on file. And allow for up to a total of 5 tanks with administrative approval from the township. And the applicant will submit a site plan approval application within 90 days. Basically what you got, just a different form. So we can just keep the record straight. And that's the motion, from what I understand. Looking for a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Anthony, second by Tom. All in favor, say aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Congratulations, thank you. Yes. I will do that shortly. Gentlemen, just for the process, I'll have to sign 3 copies of this, and you guys can sign 3 copies of it. Okay, I'll do it right now.
Do you have an application when you start the process?
I don't have that application looking, but it'll be on the website.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, one of you guys can do yours, and I can do all my notes. Right. One of these stays with us. One's for you, and one needs to get transferred back over to Nick Doody. If he were here, he'd give it to him tonight as well. So, I can leave that for you for homework.
All right.
Okay, next order. Wright Township Master Plan. In July, we had a meeting, Ryan was here and Barb was here. And the, Barb was here and they gave us the final draft of the new Wright Township master plan. And the committee as a whole voted to approve the master plan. So now now the process is, it's basically going back to the townships, and it's up to us to vote and make a recommendation to the township board. And then after that, the tri-county, or the NEMCOG is going to be holding a public hearing on it. They're gonna hold it, it's gonna be here December, first week of December. Yeah, it's gonna be the day of our December meeting, but it's 6:30. Yeah, and it's here in this room. So basically what I need is a motion to recommend approval to our township board of the tri-township, or the updated tri-township master plan. Somebody has to. It's the same one that we had. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to send the,
Tri-township master plan.
tri-township master plan, draft,
Yeah.
final draft to the board.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? It's the, we've got pieces of it, but we've got an email that we've got all of it, so. We'll call this one to a vote, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Hearing none, that will end the board, so I'll have you guys put that out. I think we made it for a while. Yeah.
What we got for Sunday, so.
Yeah, we have, yes, yeah, that's one September meeting.
The other two townships don't even have a meeting until September. That's what they said.
Yeah, they were talking about calling a special meeting. Right. Yeah,
We're the local.
yeah, so we're good as far as time, but I'll take that email up. I got it in mind. So I'll send it to you guys, the board. Get that done. Next item is the ordinance update. I got an email. Asking us to make sure that we look at the I have a mind blank. Let's see if I can find it. Not storage, battery storage, but transfer station or power station, whatever it's called. Substation, there you go. Of course, I started asking questions. And it makes me think that I started inquiring a little bit, just looking at ordinances and looking at motions that were passed in a couple of communities regarding them, and not knowing exactly why. I'm thinking that maybe we might want to have Denise, maybe, I haven't sent her any correspondence with her on that, but maybe we ask her if there's any updates to those portions of ordinances from other communities that they may have interacted with. I don't know exactly what's going on. I was told that there was, I was asked to come to a meeting too, but I was out of town, so. But I don't know that I want to be at a meeting with that. I don't want to know too much, so they're kind of refresh. But my question and possibly a suggestion is that maybe we open that up over the next month and take a look at it. Yeah. right community, it's different than what we already have approved. I don't know that it does. But it gets me questioning battery and all this.
Did you apply for it?
No, I always apply for it.
So it's hard to compare for.
Well, it's not a matter of not knowing what's coming, but it's we want to make sure we have all the rules in place.
I don't think we want to wait for the apply for the permit.
Right. If somebody applied for the permit for April tomorrow, it would be what's there. That's in our account.
Whether the community gets the, whoever's gonna do the solar has to go to the state or the community.
Are you talking about the past ballot?
Yeah.
I am positive it wasn't on a past ballot.
Oh, that's
It was my understanding.
Put it on the ballot.
There was a initial, it was on the ballot, but I don't think it was to go on the ballot.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I know they were here at a meeting.
Yeah. I don't think it went through, and I think that what you made me think about, Ryan, is the state legislature was contemplating or they're looking at trying to push a bill through.
Yeah.
I don't know that it happened. I don't know.
Well, I think right now, as it stands, the consumers want to go to the state and get their contract they could. But they would rather work with local, because they want to make everyone organized, basically. But that is, what they were trying to do is they were put on the ballot to get it back to the week that they couldn't just go to the state and the state say do whatever you want. And I don't think it got enough signatures to get on the ballot.
That's my understanding. So I guess the question for us is that do we want to open the book back up again? Okay. Well, I can do that. I think you guys want that. Okay, so you guys are good with that? Right.
Not have to rework the whole thing.
I don't want to do that. We can look at certain things. And then so I'll do that. I'll report back next meeting. Somewhere in here, in that bag of stuff, I was asked to look at roadside stands. The permit request has come in for a roadside stand, and according to our book, they're only permitted in ag, or forest, and recreation zone properties. All others have to come for a variance. So I was asked for us to look at that to see whether that's something that we want to get into the business. This is as much as I know about it. I don't know where, when, what, who.
Are you supposed to have a permit at, tickets for any part of the house?
As a roof, needs a permit. That's all it is.
I thought it was a certain size.
Main Street, no, I got, take it a while. It has a roof, it's supported by columns or walls. Instead of it.
Like our own chairs.
Yeah. Unless it's got energy.
If it was rambling, we can go back. There you go.
Well, accessory buildings is 3-4, temporary buildings is 3-10. Oh, that's your Dave's report, that's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Because I remember when you talked about,
I know we talked about it.
yeah, in detail. Page 231 is the definition of those things that other than have.
The only other place I can think of is in the schedule of allowable uses.
Temporary,
Where's that?
temporary, it's got a list of a bunch of stuff. Temporary, structure,
Three point five?
I guess that would be the outside
Yeah. Line or something like that. I see it right here on page 443. Halfway down, this is in the table of permitted uses. Farm market slash roadside stand is right at the binder. That's why they said that all other districts, you have to go for variance. I'll be honest with you, I'm surprised it's regulated at all. I don't know what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
I think it should be.
I don't know if
Well, yeah, I mean, if somebody wanted to go set up a little lemonade stand at Chippewa Point, this doesn't allow you to do it.
Or in their front yard.
Or in your front yard. Well, this one says that in your farm market roadside stand on property controlled by the affiliated farm. But what about that property that's not? So if little Johnny wants to go down and pluck eggs from McKinnon's farm and bring it back and sell them in his front yard, this says you can't. Well, this does say, I think you could do roadside stand in a commercial. It's the next one down, not affiliated with a specific farm, permitted in commercial. I'm guessing this is where the question was out of this area. My suggestion is I will talk to Denise about the other one, and if we decide to take a look at, open it up the book, then you can either do this or go both at the same time. You can possibly look through this whole table. When I look through it a few times, you put it to all the different kinds of circumstances. Even the one above it, domestic farming, because I'm a little concerned about somebody growing garden in their yard. So you can only do that land for the time. Right. Right. Yeah.
But the same as the inside stands, why they have to control inside property farms.
Right.
Set up all kinds of overboard and
Well, that's exactly right. It doesn't have to be frozen in the brewery.
I wonder if you just put it in line.
I guess for us to change anything over here, you have to have a public hearing process. So I think what we do is, why don't we let this sit and we find out if we're gonna look at the other issue. And we can, look at this at the same time. So I think we do. Yeah. I hate to open up the whole bag of worms to put 3 letters on this table. Everybody okay with that? All right, I got homework again. Okay, we'll move on to fences.
Building, do they have to run through and do the permit process to be able to use that road? Yeah.
That's on here.
Not saying they're going to, I don't know, I'm just wondering what the process
Food
is.
truck is permitted in commercial.
Say that again?
Food truck is permitted in commercial.
Or do they have to apply for anything?
You'd have to get a permit.
Okay,
It's permitted.
so they still would have to apply for a permit. Just curious.
And it's,
Just
that may
noticed
be
it's sitting
something,
there and I'm like,
yeah, and that may be something that's more than just the township. From a zoning standpoint, you probably have to get a permit, but they probably have to get a permit from the health department, I suspect.
that's what I would have thought.
For concealing the food.
Because I think that's what smoke control is supposed to do.
Yeah, I suspect they'd do the same thing. There's a lot of controls over that stuff. When I was talking about the community center, it's commercial kitchen, not commercial kitchen,
Yeah.
food preference,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. All right, moving on, fence discussion. Regarding this email that we got. All right, moving on, fence discussion. Regarding this email that we got. Having thought a little bit about this, I think this is probably not in our realm. This is probably something to be in the board. That's what I think. I don't know if you, well, it sounds like the township fence.
Yeah.
So if the neighbor wants to put a gate into it, put a opening in a privacy gate on public property, I'd rather have the township attorney answer that than us. So if they sell the house and the next guy doesn't want it, then we've got to close the gate. So, maybe that's something we can pick up at the board.
Yeah, I think we all have to email stuff.
Alright, next item, moving on to old business, short-term rentals. Did anybody else look after other communities?
I have all a bunch of stuff.
Or studious?
There are, the ordinances, as well as a couple of rental agreements, and then lady extenders says, no. These are on one hand. There are three, they finally have rental stuff at the top. And I can actually find it. So this one is Ross County. And then Market check over that.
So they are restricting it. Is the application, so this must be for this is a property owner, but.
Yes, this is one property on the first side. Then the ordinance is behind that.
Well, I suspect that without having the time to read through this, I suspect that the issue of that some townships, we still have the same issue. Some are regulating, some are not. It's just a matter of if you regulate how much. And the process. I did pick up something. I did something very, very unique that I've never done before. AI. I typed in, what are the pros and cons of short-term rentals in the community? I forgot I even brought these. I don't know how I did it. I got more here if anybody wants these. You can throw them down on the end of the table. I didn't even read all of this yet, but I just did this today. I thought I got to read it. Look smart tonight. But I got one page of pros and the whole book on cons, it looks like. All right. Right, exactly. None of this was typed by me. This is all just hit print. We've been asked by the township board to look at this, and for lack of wanting to make a career out of this, I think there's probably different levels of interest in doing something or not. And I spent quite a few hours digging up and you obviously have 2 cars. And I guess the question I'm trying to get a feel from the planning commission is, what is your inclination on whether we want to do something? Do we continue to look into it, or do we just say, no, we the way it is? And I've been checking around. I've been just talking to people in the community, and of course I had one source that knows a lot of people in the community, and I'm not hearing a whole lot of opposition to having short-term rentals. So
I can see it being a lot of other issue with housing.
And not reading this, but over the last couple of months, I've kind of looked at it. There's a couple things that I keep thinking of. One, the pros. And the pros for me, and I get to see it personally. There's a lot of people who come to this area. They rent an Airbnb or whatever they're called, the other one. Or they stay at Karen's or one of the other places. And they look around, they go down the lake, they like it, they want to buy a place here. Because homes are selling fast on the lake. And I'm not saying it's just a lake, I mean, it's small houses off the water, everything's selling pretty fast. The short-term rentals, it seems like it brings people, outside people into this area. Looking at this, job creation, maybe, I don't know. Increased tax revenue, I don't know. Cultural, that's outside of my neighborhood. It does bring new people here. It brings people here that can't afford to buy a house on the lake. It brings people here that can't afford to buy 40 acres and come there for 2 nights and go hunting in state land.
People come out and say that they're
Yeah. So there's a lot of there's a lot of pros to it. The con that I also think about is when we had one of our residents here a couple months ago, and he was concerned because I think he said about 5 out of 7 houses in the immediate neighborhood were short-term rentals. That was a lot. And just like having the visibility of a solar farm in your neighborhood, I can see that maybe having the continuity of the same neighbors living next door to you all every weekend is probably a time. And I can see that for people coming and partying in the house next door. I had somebody next door to me, and frankly, I was out of the I was going to my house at the time, but I question it. I've gotten calls from people that are need the income, need the money to pay their taxes. So it's, with all due respect to Elkhorn Township, we've got 2 lakes that they run. I think that there is a need for it. It's a matter of, and it's a matter of how much. If we were to get into regulating it, my opinion is that we regulate it from the standpoint that we want to know who's there and maybe limit the number. And it's been talked, we look at, one every 300 feet or 500 feet of each other. Obviously, you don't have that problem.
Then if you start doing something like that, you're going to do it to what is the first thing that you found that you see in town.
Right.
Yeah, they drive the valley of someone else's house down too, or someone else that they could.
Right.
If you look at it and say 20, the 21st person calls and says,
Yeah, wait till one opens up.
too late.
I understand.
That is what,
So your house,
they just say every year, you have pressure for sure.
Yeah.
When you saturate it, you come.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is starting to
Well, the thing that I would need to see is, and I think it was, actually, my buddy's on Hades, and he said that there's national companies coming in to start to buy. I don't know that we have to worry about that here, because the year's a little shorter here, the season's a little shorter here than down there, but if they get pricing enough, they could. So do we want to,
they're just going to buy up to the first one to do that. And if somebody's doing that, they're going to have to turn this party there.
well, and then, you can't tell somebody they can buy, but if you want to keep that from happening, you regulate them out.
They're doing that, they're going to have other people about it. And they're driving, and crossing, I'm just looking at the cost value.
One of my concerns was probably our local businesses. I think, I can't remember the other gentleman down the lake from you. He said he didn't have a problem with it. They do. My opinion is we support our businesses. The other thing is the question of is when you take a residential piece of property and you turn it into a hotel, is that now considered commercial? So I'm just throwing out the pluses and the minuses here. And this is probably why our state legislature didn't have the guts to regulate it. Which is
You'd have to charge enough in the fee, the application, to hire someone full-time to check on these prices.
Well, and that's, I think in my opinion, I don't think, this is just me, I don't think we want to get into regulating each individual one and setting it up, but I think
I agree with you. You should be able to, not yet.
I mean, all the townships that you see that don't not any shark there. And I'm sure that they ran into a problem and they can just say, all right, well, there's no short term anymore. It's not like we ran into a problem, it's too late for. Is that true, or is that not, am I thinking the right way, or? Like we could stop all short term at any time? That's a,
Yeah, that's what you're asking.
They're gonna say, well, we've been doing that for this long.
I was just wondering, because like I said, I see that there's places that don't allow it at all, and you know that, the head was out there, they wouldn't stop.
Ken, you were gonna say something, because I know you were looking at how.
Yeah, it's a little bit like less down to the unit as far as, permit fee and something that's, let's see, fixing each other, the house has to be within 60 minutes in the house, if that, and your neighbors have to have that person's phone number to call 24/7. It's like one house, this person has to be available to go check out the house. You know, we had a few different regulations on what we going forward, that's this guideline we provide. And then we have a few to go have to lean toward a call, you know. We try and go calls, and that way at least 2/3 of the lake is the same, you know.
Why do you want to continue the property and get permission?
The upside with that, I think, is that they're trying to do is stop, like the big companies that you're talking about, keep coming in and buying, so that's to be selling the community to take care of it, that's better, it's a whole new year. You know, to use the money, pay it back, hopefully you have money to fund it, I don't know if you can say, oh, it's you. So it's not a big commitment, but you're trying to do it.
So if we had three options, one, option A is don't regulate it at all, which is our current situation. B, regulate the hell out of it, for lack of a better term. Or C, some type of a permit process to impose some regulations. That level of what regulation? What is the flavor of this planning commission for that?
Have we had any issues at all the way it is right now?
From what I understand, well, we've had one person that's come out. He lives over,
I mean, that's like a planning commission where, everybody comes to it and have an issue with it.
yeah, we had one person.
Our last meeting, there was a septic problem.
Yes.
And sewage going into the lake.
Or if,
Because there's so
Our
many.
friends here tonight were busy on next Monday.
So, you know what? That's an issue,
That
really.
is an issue.
I mean, if we get the lake shut down,
It's hard to say, too, because if
well, it could be
somebody has-
anybody, right?
if somebody has 20 family members coming up, you can't say, no, you can't do that anymore.
Thirty family members, okay, we have 30 family members that have to be.
So you wanna tell people how many
No,
family members they can have. Well, that,
Well, I think going back to my original question is, that's where I mean some type of regulation. You know, I guess my question is now, rather than us leaving this on our agenda for 19 months straight and not coming to any resolution, we need to respond back to our board. And the question is, are we of the opinion that we think that we're better out not regulating it, keeping everything here the way it is? Or I'm gonna go to the other extreme and regulate the hell out of it? Or do we wanna, and when I say the middle ground, is it a permit issue like several other communities that looks like they have done that route? Do we wanna do some sort of that? I'm trying to get a flavor from us as to which way, so we're not wasting our time on it.
I'm not in favor of regulating.
I agree. I want to hear from you too, Will. C is out,
Yeah.
or B is out. Okay. What about A? Do we prefer to do some type of regulation or not?
I'm gonna go, personally, I'm gonna go with the not for the amount of complaints that we've had for the election.
I think we need to survey people. I don't know if that's possible, because that's a question that's really to answer better than us. How big a problem is it? Is it a problem? Is it not a problem? I mean, personally, it's not a problem for you, it's not.
Right.
Well, it's not just the way it is.
Well, I understand that, I mean, that's where I'm at.
Looking at the regulations that are on, at least Torch Lake, some of the permits, I mean, the one community on Torch Lake, they basically, you get a permit, we're gonna put your name on our website. Somebody wants to Airbnb, we're advertising, here you are. But it's also, you're responsible or not. That's basically what it does. So if you're willing to put your property on the market for rent, you're gonna take the heat for it, not the county.
But all the permits that I normally do are also only 30% of houses can do this, so, you know, are we gonna have a limit?
That's what we would have to discuss.
And is it a goal of a year, people who got turned down earlier, maybe a farmer thing for next year, or
The problem, part of the problem, I think it's regulation, is if they can go on like Airbnb right now or VRBO, the person that's renting it also gets a rating. If you start regulating it and then that person says, well, I'm just gonna advertise it not on that one in some other way, but there is no rating for the people, then they don't know what their clientele is like. If they're on Airbnb, they can go on and say, well, this person has an A+ rating, everybody that they rent from says, there's no complaints. Or it can be the opposite. If it has bad complaints, we're not gonna rent it.
Right. I agree, I think that the commercial websites are probably a good thing for that.
But there's a great for both parties.
So just go ahead.
And then you run into the other thing, somebody moves up here and lives on the lake, and they pass away, and their kids with it want to keep it, but they can't afford it, and so they want to rent it out as a short-term rental, but then they come to the township and say, you're too late, you're filled up, put it up for sale.
Right.
And if we get into some type of regulation, I think that can be dealt with.
Too late, you're filled up, put it up for sale.
Right.
And if we get into some type of regulation, I think that can be dealt with.
The property is acquired through one other term, and I'm not being a lawyer on that, but. So Barb, you're saying that you want to continue looking at this or don't? It sounds like Ryan's like, scrap it the way it is.
Oh, no, rabbit hole, man. Starting to do one of these.
Totally different than this though.
Oh, I know.
It's not part of this one.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to see it be one community. So I'm not saying yes or no for the community. It's an important decision.
What about you, Ken?
I still have regulations when we come to it.
I agree with that.
And we have what the point, let it go, and So bad thing that 2 years old, well, shit, we should have done something, you know, too far behind, you can't do that. And we try and should be able to get like pauses a little bit. And, I mean, that's all I could think is, you know, got the freaking lake and here's this, this, and this. You better off to say, you know what, you don't want to say no at all, so let's shift this way, just 2/3 of the lake is paved. We're open to it, you know. Well, like I said, assuming at least that was positive thing I saw out there, several things have to be done in the account. So that's the way I got to do it, working for that. Three regulations on the lake, and now going towards the one, it's going to be cheap.
My opinion is that we, and being a lakefront property owner, not that that matters, I don't have a problem with them at all. When Tim was here talking, and would I have a problem if both sides of me in the next, 5 out of 7 houses in my immediate neighborhood were rentals? I might have a problem with that. I think when we get outside of the lake, I know I haven't looked at any of the websites, but I guess there's several of them out on the trail. I don't know where there are other ones.
I don't know what it's up.
Right.
But some people have owner occupied ones too, which people come and stay with. That's the thing. I don't think
That's the difference in the two apps, right? The value of the company sell, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, I think that having some type of format, if not even to control it, and I say control, because I think in trying to control, I mean maybe limited control. For instance, if somebody's going to put their house out for rent, and it's a 2-bedroom house and they rent it out for 12 people, chances are, number one, there's not enough places to stay, there's not enough places to park. And the high potential is you're going to have issues with septic, which is going to keep these guys busy. And my thought was, you know what, you have somebody like that go to the health department, and the health department tells them from a septic standpoint, this is how many people they can have in that house. So it keeps us out of the regulation, puts the onus on the property owner and the renter. And we can look at, that's just one factor, but we can look at these other communities at the other factors that we can look at. One is having somebody there to answer to. Another one may be parking, maybe not. And the other, I think, is a big thing that the one complaint that we had is not having too many of them where if I have 4 rentals on, within a short distance of my house, I don't want it to affect my value. And it may not affect the value, but it might affect the saleability of the house. Just like a solar. A solar is probably not going to affect your SEV until you go fight it, but it's probably going to affect the ability to sell your house when you want to, which affects your value. So indirectly, I think it will. And do we have to be Nazis about it? In my opinion, no. I don't think it would be nice.
They're a lot more expensive than what we charge.
So it may not be, when I heard you guys last meeting, I was like, it really affected the way I thought.
So does that help you guys though?
It helps us because we don't charge as much. Yeah. Because they charge cleaning fees, there's the administration fees and all that stuff. We don't charge all that.
Which is totally contrary to what I would have thought. I was sitting here and would have been no way.
Can you use the hotel?
Hubbard Lake Hotel. Or no, sorry, the Sands Resort.
You're in the wrong spot.
Sorry. You said motel and I just repeated it.
I didn't know that motel was down there until this summer.
Oh, yeah.
I've lived here for 8 years.
Okay. Yeah. No, we're the Sands Resort in North of it. I'm like you.
So is there any way that we can regulate this like,
You can't regulate this election.
well,
So,
so is there any way that we can regulate this like,
you can't regulate this election.
well,
I don't think you want to.
We gotta wait for it.
Yeah. But this is a code, it's gonna be, it would be, if we do something, it would be a totally separate ordinance than the zoning ordinance. It would be just like is its own ordinance. Yeah, I'm
I'm
sure.
just saying it's not gonna affect any of our budget.
So like it's part of the Genesis. That's like.
Well, let's say for instance, so you wanted to do an Airbnb on your farm, and you can't have another Airbnb within 300 feet of your house on your farm. Kind of keeps you in the open.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know.
Right, right.
But that's not gonna have an effect either on that.
Right. But what I,
What's gonna affect is, I don't know, like,
yeah, because as a lakefront owner, it is public record now, but we just had somebody bought a house on the lake in Caledonia Township for over $600,000, taking care of the house now. So if you start throwing Airbnbs right next door to them, he's probably gonna have a problem with that.
right, by the age, I'll consider that now too.
It's not always an option though. So those are things that I think maybe having a little bit of control over. Yet not get too into the weeds. I don't want to regulate who's there, who's not. We leave that, if we were to do it, we do it so that we kind of keep ourselves out of the business. So you're in favor of the study, do nothing, or questionnaire, I should say. Do nothing. Okay. Do you think the board would support doing nothing?
If you come up with something, I think that we can put that on the website.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I can ask about it tomorrow and do it.
Okay. Yes, please.
And then
We could, next meeting, I can draft something up for the meeting and then we can go over that. Yeah. The last study that we did was for the Township Master Plan. We used Survey Monkey. And they had, I don't even remember if it was a 10% hit rate on returns on it. It wasn't a lot.
that went on the tax bill.
It went on the tax bill.
I mean, I don't think you're gonna go door to door, so.
Yeah, there's only one way to do it, and that's using something like that.
Yeah, it's really fun, because they don't have to hire us.
Well, and we've got that newsletter that the township sends out, that email distribution list is a good thing. A lot of people are. And not knowing how to do that, we might have to put that out, maybe the Empire to help us with that. And I can ask you what it would cost for that.
We can put something on there.
If you have what, if you have any website, you do that.
Yeah. You know,
That's what we did
some
before.
of the local Facebook stuff.
Yeah. We have it on, it just depends on how detailed we want. I don't think this would be a detailed
Not very
questionnaire at all. It's like 2 or 3 questions. So I will, if you want to bring that up to the board, I'll ask Denise if she's done anything else in any other communities and if she has any suggestions or questions. And then we can talk about that next meeting. At least we're moving forward with it.
Anybody else have any comments?
The ones I've run into have been very interested in our community and things that are going on. And even to the extent of even in our little donation jar and wanting to help even possibly with giving donations for donations. And I know the farmers market benefits by anybody that's here. And particularly see it on, 4th of July weekend. It's a huge difference.
And I think too, I'm gonna add to that, talking to some of the people at farmers market, you're getting a lot. They'll say that their grandfather left them this house, or their uncle or their dad did, and they're still working, but they like to come up and they spend money. They do spend lots of money all over, and you can ask all the businesses around. And they can't be here all the time, but maybe their other grandkids can come up the next weekend. So some of those places are being used by families at different parts of the time. Not everybody, not just mother come up and use her dad's place. She's got her kids letting them come up and use it. So some of the places are being used by family members at different sections of the month, or different months and so on. But they end up coming and spending money up there.
Are you saying that with respect to Airbnb stalls?
No, it's not it's just family-owned houses. And, and people may think they're renters, but they're belonging to the family, and different people of the members of that family are coming up and using it at different times. So it looks like somebody might think they're renters, but their family owns the thing, and they're just taking turns using them. Because most of the younger people are still working, but they're paying the taxes. That's,
And that's something that, just so it's understood, a situation like that when we talk about short-term rentals, and I'm gonna go back to that for a second. Short-term rentals are a maximum of 30 days when you rent out your house. When you have family coming, if you have a second building, it's a accessory dwelling on your property, and families using it, that's not part of what we're referring to as short-term rentals.
right.
You may still have some of the other
issues.
issues, you may still have
A lot of
septic issues.
people that might think they're, just people are renting because they see different people there. They're not renting, it's family coming up and using it at different times of the season. Because not everybody can get off at the same time. People are still working.
Yeah, I think she's just going based on perception of what the neighbors think are happening, and it's not really what's happening, it's actually continuing.
Yep. I completely agree with that. I'm that.
4th of July, I had 9 cars in my driveway, no plane to do. But, and it's all, family members coming to stay here.
And that can happen. I might be over here, somebody watching out my window, sitting in my rocking chair, and say, oh, there's different people there. There's different people do this next week. But maybe that belongs to that whole family, maybe they can using it. Now, I understand what you're saying, but who wants, I don't know which one of you guys want to do, monitor all this or not. You gotta think about that. If you put too much regulations out, who's gonna monitor all that?
That's why we're talking, if we were to do something, it's very limited.
Yeah, I would think you'd want to go that way.
The township, we can't afford to police it.
So register it,
Oh, yeah. Without anything else, what's our motion? Motion or anything?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next meeting is September 8th. According to my calendar. Maybe it'll come out at 5th even.
Are we leaving the chairs tonight for tomorrow night?